So I was going to ask you as well. Do you think learning theory helps or sort of hurts the creative process when you're playing, either in a studio situation or whether or not you're playing live? What's your thoughts
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that?
I think the thing with theory is that I think everyone needs to have a basic knowledge of it. It helps you when we go back to that sort of idea of learning by ear. If you understand sort of just really basic fundamentals, it really helps to put things in place.
Hmm.
Yeah, and probably simple things like learning tunes and memorizing a lot of tunes. If you realize that the chord structures are very similar, I mean, if someone said go and learn that, those 50 tunes there, you'd be pretty overwhelmed by that if you didn't
Yeah.
understand the thread that hangs things together.
Hmm.
So that to me where the theory comes into it. It's just it's not having to be able to write symphonies or be able to orchestrate all these great parts or whatever. I mean that's fantastic for the people that want to do it. But if you're a guitar player, just past beginning stage, I think you need to have a basic understanding of how a chord's built, how a scale's built, how a scale becomes a chord, how a chord becomes a chord progression, basically.
Yeah.
If you've
Okay.
got that knowledge down, for a lot of people, there's not much more that you actually need to know. You know, when you're improvising, it helps them understand a little bit more about chord and scale theory, but it can go too far sometimes too. So I'm a believer in teaching something to somebody that's applied to what they're doing. It's really important, and it
Yeah,
helps. Yeah,
that's a great thing to touch on as well. I think anytime you're learning something, if you can apply it to the style or the type of music you're playing, it obviously makes it a lot easier to learn too, rather than stepping too far outside of the bag that people want to learn too. I guess would that
yeah,
be accurate? I guess.
yeah. It is, mate. It helps it stick too. If you're learning a concept and not using the concept or applying it, then it'll just go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Particularly as I'm getting older, my RAM's getting fuller, mate. So the hard drive's getting fuller. I can't keep everything in there, so I've just got to keep in the things that I use.
Mate, you can give me half of that unused bag of chops any day. I'd
Right.
happily take those. That's. I was going to ask you too. Speaking of what people have learnt over the years and getting in a rut, or maybe getting stuck playing something that's just becomes bad habit kind of playing. I know I've over the years I've struggled with a lick that I always played wrong, and I really had to just drill it out of me by playing lots of other stuff and I guess making a point to not go anywhere near that lick, which in
Yeah.
turn also it helped, but it took a while to get rid of that from my playing. What's your thoughts on breaking bad habits musically?
Yeah, it's for one thing that they can be broken, which is a good thing.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully, it's all part of the learning process, and like some people have really bad habits with technique, and you don't want to get hung up too much on technique. But the really important thing is that when you play, you should be relaxed. Both your hands should stay fairly relaxed. And like I say to some of the beginners here who look like they're doing contortion exercises of some kind, I say relax. I know it's not easy, but I
Yeah.
know you're finding it impossible. But that's the thing is to make sure you relax your hands, and you don't want to be doing damage to yourself. So that's the only thing I'd say with bad technique is you can do damage to your hands. Now, as far as things that you play and changing things that you play. That can take a time to get through your system, but it
Hmm.
does go through. It does happen. I know sometimes I get really disappointed. I'll be sitting here working on some stuff and thinking, yeah, I'll go out and have a jam with some guys this week, and I'll bring all that stuff out, and I'm just going to blow them out, and it's going to be fantastic. And then nothing happens,
Yeah.
and then 6 months down the track, I'll be playing somewhere, and suddenly these lines start coming out. So, okay. So with stuff like that, if you just work it and just give yourself time, it'll flow through your playing, whatever you want to play. But that, more often than not, never comes through straight up.
Hmm.
It just doesn't seem to work that way. Maybe I'm just a bit slow, but that's the way it works for me anyway.
No, I'm the same. I'm absolutely the same, and it's interesting that you mentioned being relaxed. I know when I'm playing more live and I'm comfortable and I've been gigging more, or even just practicing a lot at home on a more of a daily basis, my picking hand, which is my opposite hand from the right-handed players out there,
Yeah, you're a
is
lefty.
always loose. And that's when I'm playing my best. Anytime I know I'm grabbing the pick too hard, or I've got my left hand sort of clenched, I play bad. I always play bad. I never feel like I trust in my own playing, and it's about just loosening up, and yeah, it makes a big difference to your playing.
It was a mental battle, I think, like a lot of things, human endeavors like sport and things like that as well. If you can just go with the flow a bit and relax through something, you'll perform it a lot better.
Yeah, and I think not having expectations that you're going to play a certain way has helped me a lot. I used to sort of try to, either expect that I play better at certain gigs than others, and in the end, I just thought, let's just see how we go. Like I try not to anticipate what I'm going to play before the gig actually starts as much as I used to when I was, sort of not gigging as regularly. I used to just rely on, well, this is the kind of stuff I want to play. But I felt like over the years, you just have to sort of go with the flow a little more. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then that's a real killer when you start trying to pre-guess something, at a
Yeah,
gig.
yeah.
In the early days, we were playing quite a bit, and funnily enough, I found some of the best gigs I played was when I was ill. Sounds
Yeah,
quite funny, and the reason was I was too worried about trying to stop my nose from bloody running or something like that, and I wasn't concentrating that much on my playing, but I was just letting the playing happen. So I was a lot more relaxed in that, and was more worried about sneezing or something else stupid. So
yeah. There's so many variables that can put you off playing, especially live. It could
yeah.
be, especially if you're singing as well and the PA's not right, or you're sort of leading the band and you're giving solos around, or someone's playing over the top of you, or it's not hard to be put off. I think the more you do it though, the more you become sort of you adapt to different situations. But